Let's do it. All right. Pac-12 championship, Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. I think it's key where we mention where these games are. So anyhow, Pac-12 championship in Vegas, Utah versus USC. USC is -2.5 over under 68. Dylan, start us off.
So last year, I was self-proclaimed Mr. SEC because I just nailed Alabama in the SEC championship, and then I nailed Georgia in the national championship, both like 4-unit plays. This year, I'm Mr. Pac-12. I'm going to be Mr. Pac-12 because I love Utah here, even at 2.5. It was 3 earlier in the week, but Utah just has the advantage where discipline is concerned and defense. They're the only team that's been able to pressure Caleb Williams. We touched on it briefly about USC's game against Notre Dame. They only outgained Notre Dame by like 30 yards. They let Drew Pine throw all over that defense. Utah committing like 20 less offensive penalty yards per game than USC. And I will give USC credit. They have a great offense, but the defense just does not do it for me. And Utah's been here before. Last year, they got to play in the first Pac-12 championship that was at Allegiant Stadium, and they won it. It's not like this is uncharted waters for Utah. So I'm all over Utah. It's a 5-star play. If you follow me on Twitter, you see where I rescinded the game of the year statement. It's back on. Utah plus 2.5 is the game of the year.
Wow. All right.
Wow.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm on USC, and I don't have all these stats to back it up. But here's the thing: if you think about USC, they win this game, they're in the playoff no matter what. It's a team that's got that in their mind, like win this game, you're in the playoff. Like first year, Caleb Williams, all the hype. I'm not gonna go against them. I've been on them all year, and they have not let me down.
Okay. Counterpoint to that though is the pressure's on USC. There is no pressure on Utah.
I still see. I understand your point. I'm still riding with USC though. I think Caleb Williams is that good. I know the defense is suspect. I just in a neutral site. I just think Caleb Williams and USC pulls this off. I'm already on the 2.5, so I'm taking that. It's not a max play, not a game of the year, and not by any means. I put like maybe 2 units on it, I think, but I'm on USC. And Grant, do you agree with me?
I'm with you, Connor. Look, here's the deal, boys. I know this Utah team better than most. And as much as Dylan wants to say he's Mr. Pac-12, bro, I know this team pretty damn close. So I will say this. You are right. The pressure is on USC. This is true. But in saying that, there is a revenge factor in this game. They obviously played. The only loss they have this year is to Utah in a hostile environment. Pac-12 refs. They're literally awful. They're awful. Let it be known on this podcast. Everyone that listens, they're literally terrible, and they will always be terrible. But this just screams, I'm telling you, team of destiny. Like media wants USC in the playoff, and I'm not going to bet against the fact. Like I think they're going to make this happen. Like regardless of what we want, like USC is going to the playoff. Like I promise you, like it's already written. I can already see it in the 4-team team right there. I see them in there. Caleb Williams is going to make some ridiculous play. You got to be betting against the Heisman favorite. They don't break down until they get to like the playoff or like the national championship game. That's like the Heisman curse, right? He hasn't gotten it yet. So I think he still plays a great game. I think the defense does enough. And I don't trust Cam Rising, to be honest, the quarterback for Utah. Every big game he's been in, he's choked. He has choked every big game. In fact, I was texting my buddy. I was like, okay, so the 3 best teams you guys have played, Oregon, USC and UCLA. Those are the 3. They've lost 2 out of 3 of those games. And they very easily could have lost all 3. So as much as, like you said, I love the discipline, and they keep talking about how they have a chip on their shoulder. It's such a worn out like talk. Like, look, USC is going to have plenty of chip on their shoulder. They got beat by this team. They want revenge. There's no, chip on their shoulder, like factor going one way or the other. I honestly think USC covers the spread. I'm going to be hammering USC minus 2.5. I love it. I love that side of it.
Grant, Cam Rising won the Pac-12 championship last year.
Cam Rising has also lost against Florida in the swamp, which Florida is pedestrian at best. He lost to UCLA, got boat raced by UCLA.
But that's not a big game.
He lost them the game against Oregon when it came into the clutch throwing picks. Like, they call him Pick Boy for a reason. He's throwing picks in the most inopportune time. I'm telling you, it's going to come down to Cam Rising, and he's going to throw a pick to lose them the game. Well, heed my words. In fact, I'm probably going to play that as well. I'm probably going to play Cam Rising at least one pick.
Let me put this out there real quick. I'm leaning USC. I haven't put it in or anything. I'm also leaning over. I really like the over. I'm leaning USC here because what scares me about Utah is they cannot play away from Salt Lake City. When they play away from Salt Lake City, Florida lost. Yes, they beat Arizona State. Arizona State was a dumpster fire. That's when Herm Edwards was still there. UCLA lost. They don't even have fans. 0 people at the game. It was mostly Utah fans. Lost. And then even the USC game, and Dylan, we were on Washington State against Utah. That game was in Washington State. You know for a fact Utah should have lost that game. Washington State was right there. Utah was getting the benefit of the doubt with the calls, and the same thing happened in the USC game. Utah was getting bailed out with very questionable calls. Utah also, it was also an emotional game because their teammate died. They were crazy game, big game, nighttime in Salt Lake City. And USC arguably should have won that game. And then you look at the other games at Oregon with a injured Bo Nix. They still lost to them. They gave up 21 to Colorado. That game was kind of dead. Garbage points by Colorado. So I'll give Utah that one. And then they barely beat Washington State. They cannot play away from Salt Lake City.
They're on the road. They're rough. But I get what Dylan's saying where it's like Vegas is familiar territory. I get that. It's like a home away from home in a sense. I get that. But I will say this. Like, at the end of the day, man, like, I want to emotional hedge this game so much for Utah. Like, believe me, I want to be on that side too, just emotionally hedge the fact that if they lose, I win either way. But I cannot bet against this USC team. I'm telling you, I feel like they're almost like sharping it as one of the 4 teams in the playoff. I can't get out of my mind. I feel like they're like corporate networks, all of them want them in for sure.
I don't want to spend too much time on this game, but you're going to tell me that the media wants USC in over Ohio State?
Yeah, I do think that.
See,
I think so too.
I think so.
Maybe it's just a West Coast big. I don't know. Maybe it's just a geographic thing. But
I'm telling y'all, bro. They're
storybook ending. Lincoln Riley goes to
Ohio
USC.
State again. They want to see round 2, but I promise you, the Southern California market is begging for something, bro. And like the West Coast has not had a representative in how many years? Like, I promise you, bro. They want to get Southern California in there, big time.
So what's our bet? We feel so strongly. What's our bet, Grant?
I'm taking the -2.5. I'm taking USC -2.5. I'm taking them like to lay the points too.
I'm talking about you and I. I'll give them money. I'll give them to your money line.
Ooh, let's go. All right. So what are we betting? I take an under. You take it over.
I'm down with that.
All right. Let's do 2 since it's the game of the year.
Okay. All right. 2 unders or 2 overs.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 overs and you give me 2 unders. All right. I like it.
All right. There we go. I don't feel that strongly about this game where I want to do that, but I did want to bring this up, kind of transitioning into the other game. TCU or USC are going to lose this weekend.
I think so too.
I don't think both of these teams win this weekend. And let's talk